Okay, guys, this is Melissa Darby. She's one of our Diamond Uplines, and she has graced us with her presence and her knowledge tonight to share everything about her journey with Plexus. And me and Melissa have been talking, so we have some questions that we were gonna go over, and then if we have any time at the end, we'll have a little Q&A. Does that sound good? All right. Um, so the first question that we have is, Melissa, when you started Plexus, what was your why and how has it evolved? I think
Okay.
this is super important for people, to understand that it's always changing. So if you could share that.
It is always changing. And can you hear me okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I always want to make sure that we can hear before so, um, I do. I think the why is so important, because everyone has a different story. And that's what I love about Diamond documentaries is you finally get to hear the heart of people and you hear their real story, and it's not just a little square on Facebook anymore, and it becomes about the heart. And so the why is kind of everything. And to be honest, when I joined, gosh, it was April 25th of 2014, so almost 4 years ago, which is crazy to me. Um, I was not looking for anything as far as a work opportunity goes. I was a network. I had done a network marketing company years back when I had my first kiddo, and I had a flexible job. I was working. I was actually working in a tech company in Ethernet marketing and doing a lot of coding in foreign languages. It was really, really exciting. Let me tell you. Not at all what I wanted to ever. That wasn't what I wanted to do, but it paid well. It paid hourly, and it gave me the opportunity to work in the mornings while my kids were at school, and I could get off the bus. They could get off the bus, and I could be there. And so I was not looking, really for anything else because my ceiling was here. Like I thought that was as good as it would ever get for me. I really did, and I look back now, and I'm like, wow. So I would have never dreamed what all has happened with Plexus. I would have never ever have said that all of this would have happened in my life. And so my bucket and my ceiling has just changed in such a neat way, because I think I always looked at other people and went, well, that's great for them, but I don't know that that would ever be me. So my why was my husband's a type 1 diabetic, and he was diagnosed at age 8, and he was having a lot of issues with his blood sugar stabilization. He had a really scary doctor's appointment. He would go every 3 months to get his A1C, and which is kind of an average of what the blood sugars looked like over a 3-month period of time. And type 1 is very different than type 2. So like I said, he got it as a kid. It wasn't necessarily because of choices that he had made. It was more genetic, but long-term effects are really scary. And his doctor had already said, just the life expectancy difference for you is 20 years less than a typical person. So any kind of health complication is a big deal. I married him because I love him, and I definitely didn't know what the day-to-day journey was going to look like with a diabetic. And then 2 kids later, we've got one with ADHD and learning issues, and then our autistic kiddo came along with GI issues, and I was like, I have a medical mess of a family, and I'm an anxious mess, and how are we going to pay for all this? And it just was over. Just the day-to-day was a lot. And so when I heard about Plexus, I really heard about it as weight loss, which turned me off totally, because I thought, okay, it's a fad and it's network marketing. Nope. But my friend that I really trusted was the one sharing it with me. And as I started doing my own research about it, I found that, whoa, this wasn't it. Yes, the products offered that, but I got really excited because I do have a personal training background and nutrition background, and I love to research. So I was like, I didn't want to be interested in it, but I kind of wanted to be sneaky and look at it for myself and go, what is this stuff about? And it blew my mind. And so when I went and met with the girl that told me, who's Suzanne Clinton, who's a very successful diamond in the company, she was so excited. And I just said, I want to try this for my husband. So my why was to help my husband's diabetic health, that in a natural way, because we were desperate. We needed change, and we had tried a lot of other things first, and nothing was really working. And his doctor was at a point that he said, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. Complications are going to really start happening for you, so the change needs to happen now. And he came home scared, vulnerable, and ready to make change. So the timing was perfect, because I had just found a product that I thought, okay, why not, And for $34.95, we'll try it and see. And so that was really my why to begin with. It's changed dramatically in 4 years' time, and partly that's because my husband's had such incredible results with the products. It really was that kind of that impossible prayer that we were looking for in terms of stabilizing blood sugar levels for him. That was huge. And when he gets high and when he would get really low, what we found was by giving him Slim, it would help him to stabilize much, much faster. And that's when your body is really getting damaged, is in that critically high and critically low period of time. So he went back 3 months later. His doctor was absolutely blown away with the results, and he's cut his insulin by about 40%. And for a type 1, that is, it's something that we could have only hoped for. So as he started getting better, he started feeling better, people started noticing, because he was acting different, I was acting different things. It just was, we felt like, wow, something really good is happening in our life. And so my why quickly became, this is my passion. I don't want to code in foreign language ever again. I want to make this I want to share this because I believe in it, and because we've had a real life change, not hey, I want to make more money. This was from our heart. We genuinely have experienced something that we couldn't believe that happened, and anyone that could be touched or helped or changed by trying these products, we wanted to help get it to people. And so that felt genuine to me. And that's why I get really passionate about talking about the products and talking to people, is because of the experience that we've had as a family, for our kids, for myself, and of course for my husband with the product. So now it's about empowering people to, if this is their passion, or if they think it's their passion, it's about equipping them and helping our healing just be unlimited, and just really helping people to go, no, you're worth it. You actually can do this. This isn't just for those people out there. This is real for you. And walking people through that process. That's my why now. I mean, our life has been completely blessed and changed. So now it's about helping people that I love and have invested in. I want to see that for everyone. So that's my long answer. See, I told you I would answer long. Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing. I mean, it's just so incredible. Your husband's story. I know that it's already touched so many people. So, I mean, right there, that's like already enough, to make Plexus just so wonderful. So thank you so much for sharing.
Of course.
So some people were wondering, what does your typical day look like for you? Like, what does your day look like?
Oh, just fabulous. I just sit back and eat bonbons and, it's just that fabulous life of mom with 2 kids. So my daughter is in 5th grade and my son is in 2nd grade. Actually, this year we were fortunate, honestly, because of Plexus, they're now in private school, which is a private Christian school, which was on the, man, I wish we could someday have that maybe happen. And so just throwing that in, because that was just another, wow, I can't believe that this is our reality now. But I definitely, I start my day, and I'm really open about my faith and passion. So I hope that doesn't offend anybody, but that's this, I just am going to be who I am. But before my feet touch the ground, I pray for my family. I pray for my team. I pray that God would bring people to this team that are with open hearts, that are ready for life change. That's my prayer. And I pray that we can have a lot of fun doing that too. That I know that work is going to be work, that I embrace the suck when it sucks. I embrace that, because I know that embracing the suckiness is what's going to get us to the greatness. And I know I'm talking about praying and it sucking at the same time, but that's part of any job. It's part of any journey that's worth doing, is knowing that you're going to be facing hard times. I mean, that's life. So I want to be able to do that as grace-filled as possible. So I pray that God brings people that need me. And I pray that God brings people that I need as well. And I definitely, and this kind of comes up with IPA, but I found that balance is kind of a joke, although it's something that I strive for. So carving out power hours that has been the IPA that has really worked well for me, because I can carve out an hour, or I can carve out 15 minutes and really hit it hard and be intentional. And that is what makes the big difference. It's not the, scrolling through, it's stopping and making that my priority, because it's so much easier to want to start with the personal development stuff and with the things that fill your day. But what I've learned is that if I will start my day with talking to the people that I'm maybe the most fearful to, or that I'm avoiding, or, if I will just start my day bravely, that it will end in a victory one way or another. So I always try to start with the hardest stuff so I can end the day with the fun stuff. But I try to get most of my work done while the kids are at school, and then once they go to bed.
Sorry, I was muted.
Oh, you're good.
So much. So that was kind of leading into our next question. Your number one IPA of choice. So you say that your power hour is, what gets you the most. I've been hearing that a lot lately.
Well, it's doable. I think it's realistic. There's a time frame around it, and that is not so daunting that you don't know where to start. That's something. And you know what? It's not power hour every day. Some days it's 15 minute, and some days it's 4-hour power hour, to be honest. I mean, you've got to make this work with your life. And today was a really fun day. It started with someone coming over to help us redesign our bedroom, and then I had a compensation plan training over lunch, and then we took our kids to the river market after school, and we spent 3 hours outside as a family, and then came home, ate dinner, and got to be here doing a call. So I love days like that, where I get to, where it's not just that all of Plexus Day, or all, it's great when we can make a little bit of everything happen. But what I have found to be the most effective is going after the people that I know can do this, or they may not know it, but they need this. They need this. I look for people that I know need the products. I look for people that I know are well networked. I look for people that I know would be open to hearing it once they know what they're saying yes or no to. I think the biggest thing that I try to walk away with when I'm doing my power hour is, when I talk about Plexus, I make sure that people know what they're saying yes or no to. I don't want it to be vague. I want them to know exactly what this is, because when people really hear what this is, what the opportunity is, that we have consumable products that are not, just when you're able to put that together with the comp plan, with the culture, most people don't want to say no to something like that. And if they do, I feel like, okay, they genuinely know that they're walking away from an opportunity that they're going to miss out on. So I don't make it easy for people. I don't want it to be easy for people. I make them tell me what their hesitations are, and we talk through those things. So I really try to do a lot of face-to-face or Zoom, phone calls, coffees. I try to limit my email and messenger because that's just so easy to get. It's so easy to ignore. It's so easy to just, I try to make it hard for people to say no, and I try to make it really easy for them to say yes. And so by taking that time and investing in the person, investing in that relationship, it makes all the difference in the world. So
Absolutely. I mean, there's just so much I could say about everything you just said. I really do feel like there's just so much more to it when it comes to our community and the consumable. People don't understand that it's not like other MLMs where they could buy something that they don't need to buy again ever, or maybe in 6 months. I mean, if you truly love these products, you continue, right? So I just love
yeah. And I think also, just kind of piggybacking on that, it's really important in how you set the expectation for people. What you say about the products, I mean, you're the person that is making the impression of Plexus. Now, they may have heard about it before, great. It's up to you to either change that or share and make it bigger. But at a minimum, I expect people, and I say expect because, like I said, I don't want to make it an easy thing. I'm like, this is your health. And if you're investing in your health, that should be a priority. And we can, when people say, well, this is one of those things that, comes last because we have this and we have that. And I'm like, you know what? That's so backwards. This is your health. And we're talking about, $34.95 to start a business, or at the most $250. That's if you get the most expensive. Welcome back to, taxes, shipping, everything. So I try to break it down in a way that a lot of it's blocking objections. A lot of it's not making it threatening, but making them realize, okay, this isn't just about taking products. This is about a legacy. This is about being able to possibly have a major second source of income, or retiring a spouse, or maybe it's, I have a friend of mine that she is all about travel. She's a blue personality. So I was saying to her, what would be worth being able to take your family of 4 on a trip to Hawaii every year? I mean, just trying to find where to meet people halfway and trying to explain why they would be great with Plexus, not why Plexus has been great for me, but why Plexus would be great for them, and how their skills and their personality works into our business model. Because people, when you make it about them, they're going to be so much more likely to listen than when it's my story. Okay, check out, that's great for you, but that's not me. That's not my life. That's not my reality. How can I make this happen? So I really try to make it a personal experience, like personal training. That's I bring it back to that a lot, or coaching. Each person is a client in my mind, and I want to provide good customer service. I want to understand their goals. I want to understand what they need out of their life, and what can I do, and what can Plexus do to help get them there. And when I break it down like that, it seems to, I get no's all the time, but I've gotten a lot more yeses now that I've kind of changed my approach and kept it simple. And also, I always have the information for them to order in our first meeting. So if it is an online conversation, if it's attraction marketing, for when someone sees one of my posts and writes back and says, I'm interested, here are my needs, would this help? What I do is I send it back, and I have a recommended combo for them, and I tell them how to order. in the first time, because then they don't have to pick up the phone. It leaves the ball in my court and they have everything they need, because it's not that they don't care. It's that life's deep and they don't know what they're saying yes to yet. And so I'm going to give them everything they need to go, oh, okay, I can just stop and order that right now from that website. And then once I get the order, we set up a time to talk. That's when I say, I'm going to walk you through how to take the products. Isn't a fit? We can sit, you know what, we've got money back guarantee, so we can tweak that for you. But it just seems to help to give people what they need to place that order right away, because it just takes keeping the ball bouncing it back and forth, busy life, getting back to just giving them that information from the get-go. It's the conversion rate in terms of my just with customers and with my attraction marketing, it's made a big difference. So I'm just trying to share some things that I've learned over time, from getting a couple of yeses to getting a lot of yeses, and why and how that's worked. So
awesome. I've never really thought about that, but that totally makes sense to kind of just put it out there from the beginning. You kind of were already touching on this, but is there one technique or one thing that you could share that maybe helps you overcome cost objections? And we were kind of touching on it a little bit, but
I was talking about this at lunch today with this awesome guy that has joined our team and has had great results with the products. You know, I know people are anxious to get those ambassadors on board, and I am too. But I think you've got to look at this beyond the month. Okay, like December was kind of a rough month, and you can let that, just emotionally make you a mess. I look at this as a marathon, almost 4 years into this now. So it kind of helps with the emotional stability to know that there's going to be highs and lows. But in talking with him at lunch, what I was saying is, when you set that expectation, when you say up front that you expect a 60-day commitment, and you teach them how to take the products right, that the majority of people really are going to have a great experience with the product. Does it mean that they're going to want to go share it, sell it? No, it doesn't. But most people are genuinely going to enjoy taking. They're going to like how they feel. And so starting them off as a customer, it takes a lot of the pressure off. You don't have to vomit nearly as much on people, okay? You start them simple. You get them hooked on the product, because that's why we have the company we have. And then 60 days into it, when they do love the product, because they have taken it for enough time that they've seen a good majority, not all of the benefits, but enough to go, I want to keep taking these. That's when it's, oh gosh, but these, you know what? I don't know if I can keep paying for it. So that's when, or even 30 days, it just depends on the person. I mean, I've had people a weekend say, okay, I love this and I can't pay for this, so what are we going to do? So that's, at some point, I have that conversation with them and say, I'm so glad you love the products. I do too. I wouldn't be doing this if I weren't completely passionate and believe in these products and what it's done for us. I understand. We joined for $34.95 because we're a Dave Ramsey family, and in our spreadsheet, we didn't have a line item for Plexus. We didn't have that money in our budget. But the lady that shared Plexus with me asked if I could find 3 people in my life that would be willing to try the products. And if I could get 3 people to try the products, that it would cover the cost. That made it wasn't all about pay points and promotions and this and that. Finding 3 people. So it just keeps it, what I like about that is it's starting them. It just, like I said, I just think it makes it a little bit less aggressive, more doable as you are getting them in the door with Plexus. And then once they get a paycheck or they see that, okay, I really can do this, that's when you're like, okay, let's talk about silver and gold and building a team. And that's when you really can, because at that point, they're invested. They're invested because they love their products. They're invested because they put their hard-earned money into this and they trust you. So that's when I really like to make that transition from, okay, you're a product buyer to you're going to be, hopefully a rock star on the team.
Absolutely. I really, really love that.
Does that answer the question? Is
Yeah,
that
yeah.
okay?
I mean, and I feel like, approaches with different people work, and sometimes, this is one thing that I've learned is to not prejudge, because sometimes I've thought, well, they would never be interested, and then they just surprise me. So that is definitely something that I have learned throughout my journey.
I mean, you know what? In our Emerald training, when we were all at corporate, Marianne Luciano, the head of ambassador education, said, raise your, and this was, emerald, sapphires, and diamonds, raise your hand if you had no intention of ever, 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 ever doing the business with Plexus. And 90% of us raised our hand. I mean, that was me. I was like, never. I mean, I had a nickname like Mel loses money, MLM. Like, no, not. It was not happening. It's not happening. So, but when I got to start it in a doable way, I don't know. It's just one of those things too that I saw that there were fun, like-minded people, and then I got added to a team page, and everybody welcomed you, and you felt like you were part of something, and just that is where I think the opportunity sells itself. That, we don't have to sell it so hard. The opportunity really will sell itself if you set them up in a way that they're going to have success. But I do think starting people from day one as a business builder with no experience with the product, I think it's going to be tougher. So, but have I done that? Absolutely. Now that, because when I started, we didn't have all of those wonderful success stories. We do now. So I have people that come and say, I'm ready. I'm going to jump in. I'm ready to do this right now. And that's a different setup. But as far as just my general approach, that's how I like to do it with people. But I've also had success with people that have said, hey, I'm ready to go right now. Hey, that's even better, But I
Absolutely.
just don't want people to be afraid to jump in with the business. And I don't want people to feel like that it's wrong to make people a customer first either. Do what feels right, and do when you are genuinely in the best interest for the customer, getting them that welcome pack, setting them up right. It's not going to be about, am I going to promote this month or not? You know what? The timing will work out that's what's going to build longevity with your team, is when you're investing in them and you're investing in your team, then those personal goals will happen naturally. And it just feels so much more others centered. And that seems to be, that comes off better.
Right. Right. Well, since you have been with Plexus for, 4 years, and I know that this is a fear that some people have, is that when they've, been doing this for a while, that their market is going to be saturated, or they're afraid that it's going to end, and what happens, and so then people start thinking about talking with strangers. And so we were wondering, do you feel like it has gotten saturated for you, or do you have success in reaching out to strangers or approaching strangers, or how does that work for you?
That's a great question, and I think you're going to get different answers from different people, so keep that in mind based on your personality type. But I really have been blessed about sharing things. I don't throw up Plexus all the time on social media at all, but I try to pick and choose, and when I share, I try to make sure that it's going to emote a response from somebody. I would rather it be quality over quantity. And so when I share about Plexus, I always hope that I'm going to get a response back from people. So I've been fortunate, and still, it's just been surprising when I thought, okay, that's it. I officially have crickets reading. There's nobody reading my Facebook post at this point anymore at all. No. That there will be these people that pop up and say, I've been following you for 3 years. I've been watching you for 2 years. I've been wanting to do it, but the timing wasn't right. It wasn't about what I was doing or not doing. It was about them being ready. So one thing I've kind of had to learn is, that's great that I'm ready, but it took Sally Crosby a year before she would give me a chance with this. And she was my best friend. And I mailed her the welcome pack and did everything. And she gave it away to her sister-in-law, like my person. I'm just saying, like, just because I was ready didn't mean she was. She's an emerald and she's amazing and, doing everything that I'd hoped she would with the company. But I've had to meet people in the middle and go, okay, they may not be ready for it yet. So it always surprises me when I have these people that pop up from middle school or someone that's, become a friend of a friend. So there's always those bonus people that still pop up every now and then. For sure, it was a lot more. I had a lot more interest towards the beginning, but that's where growing your team, where it all balances out, because now it's more about the residual income. Now it's more about investing in deeper levels and still I'm always wanting to bring people in. I don't ever want to feel like that I'm not going to do that, but I've done things like I've placed, I haven't done a whole lot of cold messaging, but what I have done is I've been really intentional about reaching out to people that I believe can do this. And they're not all my close friends at all. Some of them are people that I don't even know that well. So, but when I do that, I'm very intentional about doing it. And if I'm going to set up coffee or do I'm going to build a relationship and really make it worth their time so that they know that this isn't just me. Oh gosh, she just wants to have coffee because of Plexus. Absolutely not. I establish the friendship, establish the relationship, invest in them. I want them to be able to trust in me and who I am and know my story. And, then we get to Plexus. So I think part of my experience is just to give this patient, just to give the journey time, because it does take time to invest in people. It takes time to get results with products. It takes time to build a team. It takes time, this is not a get rich quick. This is not an overnight thing. And people get so frustrated and think it's the end of the world when they have a bad month. And it's like, that's not, I hope that's not what's being, what's been fed, because that's not real. This is about the long haul. The marathon. You want to have a team in 4 years from now that is still growing. And I've been blessed, because that's really where we're at is, and also I just roll up my sleeves and I try to, I have a page called Coal Miners Digging for Diamonds. And that is saying, I don't care what level you are. If you're interested in Plexus and you want this, I will reach out and you and I are going to spend time together. So that Tara Castaneda was one that stood out from day one. She was a level 5 for me. And I was like, I don't care. That girl is going to be so much more successful than I could ever be. And so I want to spend time with her. So part of that's been just really trying to find people that I know want this or aren't afraid to be bold and share. And, so some of it's reaching out to certain team members that aren't necessarily in my levels 1 through 3. I've done some search engine optimization where I've placed some targeted marketing locally and throughout the United States. And I've gotten some good customers that way. That hasn't been as much of a business building opportunity, but I've definitely joined a lot of groups on Facebook and worked that angle as well. So like for moms with kiddos with autism or clean eating, or just the things that apply in my life, or type 1 diabetics. I've definitely made some great fresh connections through being intentional and knowing, okay, this is where I can offer something to people. So it's been a combination, but yeah, there's still people out there that are actually reading those posts, surprisingly. They're few and far between, but with the team still growing and, reaching out and placing ads and just trying to join the chamber, just doing different things to keep my network growing. That seems, I'm still at a point where I'm growing. So that's exciting.
Absolutely. I just love everything you said, because I feel like some people think, oh my gosh, there isn't anyone. And I try to encourage them to just, give it time. It's funny that you mentioned Tara, but I don't think I joined her until I think it was over a year after the first time she had reached out to me. It was a while before I joined her. And so I try to remind people that she was patient and, she didn't push it, but it was absolutely about my timing and when I was ready. So I just try to remind people of that. And I love how you're giving examples of being intentional, because I do think that it's so important to be who you are and, connect with people that you have a connection with, and to try not to be other people. And I think that's so easy in this industry to feel like you need to be like someone else. So that's just so great how you said that. I just love that.
I don't have enough energy I barely have enough energy to be me. I can't be Tara. We already have one of those,
Right.
What's so cool about this is that none of us have everything to offer, but our team. And when we really are authentic and we say, okay, here's where these are my strengths, but man, I need some serious help in these areas. That's where, we come together and we grow close, and we truly can be successful together. Debbie, my mother-in-law, is my power partner. She's 66. Like, who would, she got her Lexus when she turned 65. How cool is that? And we always say, the two of us put together maybe equals one brain, because she does graphics. She has the time to do a lot. We just do very different things, but we've learned that works for us. So it's, finding what works for you, doing the things that you're good at, and not about beating yourself over about the things that you aren't good about. Focus on the things where you do well, and find people that fit those holes and help them to feel like they're a part of something bigger. And hey, I need you because this is where I'm not strong and this is your strength. And that will make them feel trusted. That will give them some leadership opportunity. So yeah, I'm all about getting the help, for sure. For sure.
Well, that ends our questions, but if we want to take a few minutes, if anyone out there has any questions that maybe jumped into your mind as we were talking. I see Holly's hand. Holly, do you want to go ahead and ask your question?
I do. First, I'd like to make a comment about your saturation situation. I was with a cosmetic multi-level marketing company that has been around since the 60s, and I was with them for 5 years. That was 8 years ago when I left, and I to this day have never been asked to be. I've never been approached from that company. So as far as saturation goes, there are hundreds of thousands of people out there that have no idea what Plexus is.
Absolutely, and it happens all the time. I'm always amazed here in Little Rock, or anywhere we go. There's so many people that have no idea what it is.
No.
Yeah.
My question is, I'm finding lately, I've had a couple of consultants or prospects rather that have been really interested in the business, and then their husbands shoot them down. I'm thinking it's probably because the husbands are more geared toward the financial end of it, and they're not hearing what we're saying. But how do you speak to the husbands or get around that? Because it's tough when she comes back to you and says, I would, but my husband's really not crazy about it. So I have to think about it. And then she stops talking to you.
I've got a couple of interesting examples. One is one of my absolute best friends here in Little Rock. I shared the product with her right away. She's in PT. So she's working with patients. She's got a medical background. She's very trustworthy. She knows everyone in Little Rock, grew up here, was so interested in it, went home, talked to her husband about it. Her husband was like, no. So she came back to me and she was like, I'm sorry, but I'm just going to respect what he, he's not supportive of this. And I was like, kills me. But I mean, I have to respect that. And she watched what happened. And a year later, I was a diamond, and she saw what happened here. And she is the most respectful person to her husband that I know. But that next January, after I'd gone emerald and then went diamond, she called me and said, I don't care what he says, I'm signing up, And she did. But honestly, the frustration there was that we run in that same group, and so many of the people that, like, these were her hometown friends. Anyway, I hate it for her because she's had a harder time. Now we have found her niche. It's with her patients. It's outside of the area. I mean, we've found a way that it works, but she's been open about saying, don't, make sure that he wasn't in on the call. So when I've had people say, I'm up for this, but I got to tell you, my husband's really skeptical. I'm like, awesome. Have him he doesn't have to be on for the whole thing. I would love for him to be on the call with us, but have him bring his hardest questions to the table. Let me talk to him. That has been awesome, because they're like, oh yeah, I'm ready. They come in all, and it's been great. And usually by the time they're like, okay, if this is what she wants to do, I'm like, it's okay. It's a Target. $34.95 is the price of a shirt at Target for your wife to be empowered and own a business. How cool would it be for her in a year from now to be talking about, possibly retiring you? I mean, that's worth maybe just seeing what if, and I'll have my husband come on too, because he was, I mean, even though he needed the products, he was so skeptical. And, my husband's family, they gave us a hard time when we were doing Arbonne back in the day. And so if they have a question about a pyramid scheme, I've got a great video just different. I've learned how to come back with those right answers. But my biggest thing is that I try to include them in it, and make them a part of the experience, because that way it takes, when they're able to talk to me, when I'm able to explain the compensation plan to them, and I can show them a pay stub, and I can tell them about, the real financial opportunity that's with this, and that, okay, what are you afraid of? What is your biggest hesitation? If you knew that there was a possibility that this could change your financial future forever, who cares if your wife posted on Facebook about some supplements? I mean, she's ready. She wants to do that. So support her and give her a chance to do it. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. But let her have that chance. The other thing is kind of the guilt trip, which is just, I think it's important to believe in the dreams of our spouse. I've made moves for my husband that I didn't want to do, but I stand behind him. And this is something that he's believed in. And I've, sometimes haven't always agreed with it, but because I love him, I support him. And, I go along on the journey, and it's been some of the best things ever. And we've made mistakes along the way, but I'm telling you from our experience, and you can talk to my husband anytime, or, I just like that. I just try to, instead of isolate them or be like, oh, I just try to say, I welcome questions, let's talk about anything that's making them uncomfortable. And let's make sure that before we get off the phone, that he understands and doesn't have, any other questions. And that usually really helps break the ice. But I've also had guys just sit there with their arms crossed and shake their head no, and it really didn't make a difference either. And I hate that. And so I've looked at the wife and said, you either do it anyway, or, y'all need to go talk about it tonight, but I'll be praying for you. And, but if you really break it down to $34.95, it seems like there may be bigger issues there that y'all maybe need to talk about. So, that's pretty much that, and I say that in love, but, I do think the other thing that I just want to say to y'all, if there's anyone here that has a spouse or family that isn't supportive of your business? Is anyone in that position? And I don't want to put y'all on the spot, but I don't want to take time talking about that if it's not relevant. But
Up and down. It depends on how well my business is going.
yeah, so show me the money. Of course, that is what guys want to see. But one thing that I've said is when you're having a hard time, go to your upline for that. Okay. If my husband only heard, well, she said no, and I hate this, and I'm just bleh. If all my husband heard was the frustration about this job, why would I expect him to be like, yeah, go sign up for a convention. Yeah, go spend that money. Yeah, you know what? Go leave me with the kids for a weekend. Yes, please. Like, leave me at home with the kids for a weekend so you can go and come back. And, you got to think about your audience and who you're talking to there. You kind of have to think about, okay, I'm sharing this and I'm trying to get people on board. Well, you want to get your spouse on board. This is a family deal. Now, Nathan definitely doesn't begin to touch plexus like I do, but he's a huge fan because I've helped make him a fan. And I've made sure and told him about the great things that have happened. And I go to my upline and I tell her about my frustrations. Does he hear about them? Absolutely. Am I real and authentic about it? Absolutely. But I also make sure that I share a lot of the great stuff and try to pick and choose some of the hard stuff when I really need advice. Once he went to Maui and all, we were good. But that first year, I pretty much was like, okay, if he is going to, because I wanted to quit my job. I wanted to go. I worked until I went Emerald. That was our deal. He was like, okay, you can go Emerald and you can triple your income. Then sure, you can quit your job. So that was our deal. And so, I just made sure that he thought it was wonderful and the best thing ever. And then I was so excited to quit my job and he was so supportive. So tell your family about the wins and save the frustration for your upline. Okay. Not the downline, the upline. That's what we're here for.
I love that. Does anybody else have any other questions for Melissa? Oh, Aaron.
Hi, Aaron.
Let me unmute you. Oh, there you go.
There we go. Hi, Melissa. Thank you so much for all this awesome information.
Welcome.
So I actually have a couple of questions for you. Sorry, pardon the baby.
You're good.
So I actually listened to your call that you did, like your diabetics and plexus call, because I have a few diabetics that I am trying to get on board right now. And I've kind of like used your story to tell them that I can't, I'm trying to educate myself on some of the lingo and stuff. But how do you suggest that I go about, like one of them, she was like, I found what works for me and I can't change that. And she is a type 1 diabetic. And she's like, and I don't want to mess with any of that. And I met with her face-to-face this week and I gave her some samples, but I'm just not sure how to actually talk to her about it. Like, especially, and I told her, you're 40% less insulin, how you put your husband's blood work on fridge and all of that. So, how do you?
You've listened. Awesome. Okay. Well, just real quick, what is it that she's doing that she's found her way? What is that? Did she tell you?
Well, she won't know. She didn't really go into detail about it. She wears like an insulin pack constantly, that it automatically gives it to her. She's a brand new mom. She has a 4-month-old. She, I think she just eats, well, she doesn't even seem to really eat that healthy. So, other than taking her insulin, having that little pack, I'm not real sure what exactly she does on a regular basis.
Sure. So, people are afraid of trying new things, especially when it comes to what it might or might not do to their body if they don't know a whole lot about it. So, educating her and helping her to understand that We don't, okay, if you've got something that's working, awesome. I'm not asking, I don't want you to change that. But what I want to do is I want to add a tool to your toolbox. Okay, so your insulin pump is going to work like a pancreas. That's awesome. That's wonderful. That's what Plexus is going to do for you too. The Slim is going to help break down sugar in your system so that your insulin can work more effectively, so that your highs won't be as high and your lows won't be as low. And when you are having a high or a low, you can use Plexus. Instead of using more insulin, you can use an all-natural drink that's going to help you to feel better, that's going to help you to sleep better, that's going to lower your A1C, that's going to lower your cholesterol, that's going to make you want to eat healthier before you keep using more insulin. So use it, but here's an additional tool that's a more natural way. So before you add more medication or give this a try. I mean, that's kind of how I would try to, is I'm not telling you to not do something, just consider that this is an additional tool. Yes, diet. Yes, exercise. We have another way to help make this easier for you. This is to help your life be better. This is something that is going to enrich your life. This is something that's going to help you to feel better. So even if it's not about the diabetes, but just from your highs and lows alone, okay, insulin's not going to change that. Your insulin's either, your blood sugar is going to be high or low. Slim can help make your highs and lows so much more even. So she's going to feel like she's the diabetic expert because she is. It's her body and she's living it. So you speak to her like the coach and tell her about the other things that maybe she needs to hear about, some of the non-scale victories, or about how it's going to make her feel better, because sometimes people just don't want to change, or they are too afraid to go there. So.
Right. And then you also said, because I saw that your husband took the accelerator, or I heard on the call that he took the accelerator. Now the accelerator, if I'm not mistaken, you can only take that for like 6 months though, right? Or is he still, is that like something that he takes regularly, like with the X Factor and the triplex?
Sure. So what he's done, that's a great question, is yes. So he's taken it for a long time. And then when Boost came out, he tried Boost, and then he didn't. And, so what he's done is he's taken breaks. Okay. So because the results have been there, but if he felt like, I might be, maybe I've gained a couple of pounds, or, we're about to go on a trip or something like that, then he will use it again in sporadic, you know what I mean? But
yeah,
it's made for that, to jumpstart your metabolism. But yeah, you want to, and then the hope is that once you reach that goal, you don't need that anymore. But there's still times that you can absolutely still bring that into the picture. And I think the reason that they are saying that they don't want to make that a long-term thing is just because it's caffeinated, and I have people, I definitely know people that take it, all day, every day, and twice on Sunday that haven't had a problem. But what we've done is we've taken breaks. He's taken breaks, maybe tried a different product, and then come back to it just here and there.
Okay. So out of the Fab Five, do you just start them off? Because, I always hate to overwhelm people and be like, well, you need the triplex, and then you need the X Factor. And I've had a little bit of a struggle getting people to really like add those in. But for specifically the diabetics, do you just say still start them off on the triplex, just like we start everybody off, or?
See, that's hard. It depends on what they're looking for.
Okay.
Honestly, it depends on what they're wanting, because there are people that want weight loss, and if that's the case, I don't start them on triplex. I don't. If it's someone that I know is looking for long-term health and wellness and they want to feel better, yes, I start them with the triplex. Ideally, if I could just blanket statement, it would be triplex with X Factor, which I call the Fab Four. And then I add in the accelerator if they're looking for weight loss too. But I sometimes do have them hold off on the ProBio 5 and have them start with everything else. And so have them use the BioCleanse, have them use the X Factor, the Slim, and add in the ProBio 5 after they're feeling good, they're getting results. And then I talk to them about, okay, your body is going to choose detox over fat loss. So, you know, just, this is kind of a longer conversation with product training and how I do it. But I think really listen to what they want and try to address what you think, what they need. And in the success plan, I think it's on page 28, there's combinations of products that are for each ailment. And I came up with those. So fibromyalgia, diabetes, I mean, I kind of have them all different types of products recommended for different things.
Okay, and where can I find that? I'm sorry.
In the success plan, it's on the Darby team page, and it's on page 28. I believe it's the product recommendation page. It may not be page 28. We've added and changed, but there's a page that breaks down what products do I recommend for which things.
Okay, that's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
And then one other thing real quick, I've had a little bit of a problem lately. I've just realized that I'm either word vomiting onto people to where I just say way too much. And then I found myself shutting down and not saying enough. And so now I'm just trying to work on relationships, you know, and just like inviting people to lunch. But then they're like, wait, aren't you a plexus person? And then I don't hear from them. So I'm having a struggle to find that balance of, you know, getting people to actually communicate with me to where I actually get the opportunity to talk to them about plexus and what the opportunity offers.
Okay, well, maybe it would be, hey, can we go grab coffee? I just want to catch up, and it's just, you know, I haven't seen you in a while, and I just want to catch up on life.
Okay.
Just keep it really simple. And you can even say, this is not a plexus thing. I just want, you know what, I miss you. I just want to catch up. Like, I have some things I'd like to talk about, and I just miss you. So can we catch up and just get a quick cup of coffee? So then that makes it like quick. You can, you know, that's not as committal as like going to dinner or something, or to a long lunch maybe.
Right. And then like, don't bring up plexus while you're there, and then just like kind of like let it organically happen. And maybe like later it's like, see, then I get stuck and I'm like, well, when do I talk to them about plexus?
Yeah, it depends on the hit. I mean, so some of these answers with product recommendations and with how to handle, so much of this goes to feeling out that person and knowing what your history is with that person, what they know of plexus, how close you are with them. So, you know, for some people, it's gonna, you know, I took a friend out to lunch, and she was like, okay, as we're leaving, well, why, you never even brought up plexus to me. Are we going to talk about that at some point? And I was like, well, I just wanted to have lunch. She was like, well, yeah, but I want to do plexus, and I was just been waiting for you to bring it up. And I'm like, okay, well, I figured, you know, that you would mention it. So there's been some laughable moments like that where people have been like, well, I just thought you were going to ask me and you never did. And I'm like, well, I try not to be that lady, you know, where people finally said, really? Are you going to say something? So I just always try to lead with the relationship. But when people say something like, I'm exhausted all the time, or I hate my job, or, you know, when there's those obvious things, I'll try real gently to make a suggestion, and I can tell by their body language, oh, don't you even start talking about your ProBio 5? You know, you can kind of tell.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I've tried to bring it up before, and I can just see the face, and I'm like, okay, just don't, you know, you kind of know, yeah, they're interested, or they're checking out, and I don't want to hear what you have to say. So I try, you don't want to prejudge the person, but at the same time, or sometimes I won't bring it up, and then I'll follow up on a message and just say, I loved our time together. I couldn't help but think about some of the things that you mentioned at lunch today. I would love to talk a little bit more, because because I have an opportunity. It's changed my life. I'm thinking about what this could do for you in terms of providing an additional flexible source of income, and just with the networks of people that I've already had success with this, and I can help you. I can be your partner in this. No pressure, but I'd love to talk to you more.
Okay. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
All right, Melissa, we have one more question that was texted in because her mic isn't working, and then we'll let you go. Thank you so much for your time. Her question was basically, if you have an ambassador that's already loving the products, but you want to approach them maybe about the business opportunity, but they're already kind of in a wealthy situation, they don't really need the money, how would you approach them?
Okay, so I have some people like that, and it depends on, have y'all talked at all about the color personalities, like the reds and the blues? And
Not yet.
okay, so that kind of comes back to, there's an online test that you can even take, and there's 4 different color personality types, but blues are people that are motivated by like a shopping, or like that like to have fun. And greens are all informational, yellows are nurturers, people that want to help others, and then reds are your success, you're driven, and of course we're all different combinations of those types. But I have a lot of friends that fit into this category, and one of 2 things: either I love them where they are, and I realize that they are going to love the products, and the best thing that they can do is buy the products from me and me not push them, so that they will still talk positively about it when we're around, and they will talk about it with other people, because if I push this, they are going to stop altogether. So I either love them where they are, or if I really feel like I had a friend that was kind of in a depressed place financially, they were great. She was going through some depression, and she loved the products, and I went to her and said, you're missing purpose. I got something that I think could really, you have so many gifts that the world needs, that people need, and this isn't about money, but how about, could we just have some time to talk about this? Because I think that you have so much to offer people that need to hear from you, and we could be, sipping margaritas in Maui together, coming up in September, or there's a shopping spree, or, just using those things that we're going to motivate them. For some people, like the North Carolina team, they're all well off. They needed purpose. When I went to Raleigh and those girls stood up, they were all talking about that Plexus gave them purpose outside of being a stay-at-home mom. I need that. I'm like, okay, I can only do so much, baby Einstein. I need something that's mine, something that is separate from the mom world. So there's purpose. I don't know. And for others, it's, just thinking about their why, of maybe their why would be so that they could take their husband on a vacation. Maybe they've never been able to do that. Maybe it's always been him that's brought in the money, and she doesn't feel like that she's ever been able to do that. I don't know, just thinking again about the person and trying to find how Plexus offers so much for so many types of people, and finding what would empower them to be a better version of themselves and help others in the process, and how can we bring that together.
Sorry, I was muted. Thank you so much for answering all of our questions, Melissa. You have been great. I can just tell by everyone that they've been writing stuff down, and you have been so amazing. And I know the rest of the team is going to be so excited to see this when I upload it. So thank you so much for your time.
It's been so fun. I love y'all. And if you have a team, I'm not sure about Team Page or what, but if y'all want to add me to it, or if y'all have more questions,
I'll add you to it.
just tag me. If
All
y'all
right,
have more
all right.
I would love that. I love y'all and had so much fun with you in Hawaii this last year, and can't wait to see more of you there.
Absolutely.
No, I'm
Thank you
here,
so
y'all.
much.
Like, please don't ever be like, oh, I can't. Y'all, I'm here. So please reach out. That's what I'm here for.
All right. Thank you so much,
My baby's
Melissa.
in. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
Melissa.
Bye.